War is raging, government is stealing our freedom, food processing plants are burning, and gun sales are through the roof. You're in the right place. This is The Prepared Mind.
I love that old intro that Jolene, the prepared mother, did. Hopefully we can talk her into doing more of those types of things. Anyways, welcome back, folks. It's the Prepared Mind channel, and I'm feeling less pessimistic this afternoon. I'll tell you what, though, the bad guys have done one hell of a job fucking us all over. They really have. They've done a great job. Hitler, Adolf Hitler, the Germans, the Nazis, they lost the war. But fascism won the war. But Hitler fought on the Eastern Front against the Soviet commies. He fought on the Western Front against the Americans and Brits and what was left of the men of France. And he also fought down in the desert, fought down in Egypt, North Africa. Fought on 3 fronts, then 2, and then it all collapsed. It all collapsed. So I'm thinking, I wonder, because, well, folks, the globalist, Bilderberg, New World Order, scumbag, World Economic Forum, Democrat, socialist assholes of the world, I think I kind of covered that pretty well. They're fighting on several fronts, just like Hitler did. But are they on the offensive? I think so. Hitler was on the offensive for a while. But we're fighting on multiple fronts. We're fighting on the military front. We're fighting on the social front. We're fighting the educational front. We're fighting the finance banking front. We're fighting on the monetary front. We're fighting internationally. We're fighting domestically. We're fighting against terrorists. We're fighting against other nations who have bought and control our government. You see, I just named 9 different fronts we're fighting on. And that's why it seems so overwhelming and against us. But one more thing on the Hitler thing. Hitler, the leader of Germany, lost and fled, I think, to Argentina. In any event, he lost, but remember, Hitler was funded. Hitler was financed. Hitler had help in England and London, England bankers and New York City bankers, as well as others. They funded him, and when he lost, the bankers, they didn't stop funding social fascism. They just didn't call it the Nazi Party anymore. And that is what grew into the CIA, the FBI, Washington, D.C. Oh, it's a fucking dangerous web they've weaved, and they've done so to deceive. Now, I'm going to try and be positive here. Can America be saved? I don't think so. But I'm going to ask you to please prove me wrong. The Supreme Court today decided they were going to abide by the law. The Supreme Court has agreed that the Trump administration has the authority to ban transgender troops and recruits as well. In other words, you can't get in as a tranny, and if you're in, they can kick you out. I think it should include more than just trannies. I think it should include drag queens, cross-dressers, transgenders, homosexuals, and of course, minor attracted persons. I think they should kick them all out of the military. Make the military a macho, toxic, masculine machine the way it's supposed to be. The way it's supposed to be. Because that's what wins wars. Feelings don't win wars. Drones don't win wars. Men with guns stomping the enemy is what wins wars. Prove me wrong. Anyways, let's have some more fun with this. Get your questions, your comments into the comment section. We're live right now, and you can only be live with us if you're on, well, X, The Prepared Mind at X, thepreparedmind.club, thepreparedmind.club, and also The Prepared Mind on subscribestar.com. We're live Monday through Friday, and here we go. We got more to talk about. Your comments down below. It is Taco Tuesday. And this is your chance, Monday through Friday. Tomorrow's going to be hump day. We're going to see if we can get over this hump and get into more good things, but we have one hell of a fight in front of us, folks. We do. I just covered the Supreme Court. They did something right, and I have one hell of a story I'm going to share with you guys. You will shit your pants. Are you ready? And bam! Stephen Miller. He's the guy who looks like Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. He looks like Squidward, but unlike Squidward, he makes sense. And he has been hammering left-wing media as the deputy chief of staff for Trump. But now Stephen Miller is back with something a little different. And it is the America First Legal. So Stephen Miller's America First Legal has a lawsuit against Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, John Roberts, and others. And it's a fucking bombshell, folks. Kaboom. It just dropped. This could also end the judicial bullshit. But remember, battles are won and lost. And to win that particular front in the war, it's not going to happen overnight, but this is one hell of a start. So Stephen Miller's America First Legal, the AFL, has filed a lawsuit against Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John G. Roberts, Jr., in his capacity, not as the Chief Justice, but as his capacity as the presiding officer of the Judicial Conference of the United States, and also the Director of Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, Robert J. Conrad. This lawsuit from Stephen Miller's organization is accusing these two, what I'm gonna term them traitors. This lawsuit accuses the dickhead duo, as named, of running what they have described as a, quote, unconstitutional shadow agency, and that they're absolutely 100% violating federal transparency laws with respect to groups and organizations associated with United States government offices. Now, the lawsuit was filed back on April 22nd. Today is 6th of May. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. Today is 6th of May. Anyways, so it was filed a couple of weeks ago. And it says the Judicial Conference of the United States and its administrative arm, both are headed, controlled, overseen, run by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, John Roberts. And they're saying this is a rogue, meaning out of control, meaning unauthorized, quote, executive agency, and that it's collaborated with far left Democrat lawmakers to wage lawfare against the President of the United States, against the United States Constitution, and against the sovereign people of this nation. That's what they're stating. In my opinion, folks, Chief Justice Roberts was exposed several weeks ago for collaborating with Ketanji Brown Jackson, big mouth, retarded Supreme Court Justice. Bo Asberg is also part of this group, and others operating in secret, which is against the law It's against policy. It's against, what do they call that stuff? Ethics. Aren't lawyers supposed to have an ethic that they operate under? Rules, guidelines, ethics. And these are the smartest people, the most powerful judges, and they've completely disregarded that. So in my opinion, this is all of this is an impeachment offense by all members. And it is a shock to our republic, an unconstitutional, unlawful, and illegal shock to our republic that can only be mended, folks, in my opinion, by being exposed. And this lawsuit should require a full admission of guilt by the members, a full public apology by the members, and a condemnation of their own actions publicly by the members. And then all members need to resign. That's what I think needs to happen. And if that can be forced on these motherfuckers, which is what they are traitors at worst, and at best, they're a bunch of out of control, rogue, unlawful dickheads who have skirted the system, operated unethically, without authority, and against all good judgment. And now they're being exposed. A resignation would be great, but getting them to admit their guilt, apologize, and condemn this sort of behavior, that to me would signal one hell of a fucking victory and crush the judicial lawfare movement. I'm not going to hold my breath, but they're being exposed. And that is a big deal. That is a huge deal. What do you guys think of that shit? Unfucking believable, in my opinion, that they're exposing more of this stuff, right? Oh, we got the Department of Government Efficiency exposing stuff too, but no one's resigning. No one's being indicted. No one is being arrested and prosecuted. And the money, well, federal judges keep saying, release the money. You have to release the money. You're not allowed to stop, right? They keep trying that. They keep trying to say Trump doesn't have authority, that the Secretary of State doesn't have authority, that the Secretary of Defense doesn't have authority. They're trying to say that low-life fucking judges, they're the ones with authority. Unbelievable, folks. You know, this out-of-control judicial branch, I think we all missed. I mean, we knew they were corrupt motherfuckers. We knew it was partisan and that everything is political now. But I was guilty, and I'll admit it, I'm guilty of believing that the law mattered and that these people had to respect and obey it. And I think we've all learned, at least I know I have, that that's just not true. These fucking people don't care about the law. They're subverting the law. They're trying to mandate or legislate or make commands and demands from the bench. And that trickles down to all judges at all levels, all the way down to the courts in our little towns, the courts in our cities. In fact, let me show you how this Democrat dream is affecting us all. This lawfare at the highest levels interferes with Trump. At the lowest levels, where it hits the street, it affects us, but in quite a different way. A wonderful, beautiful American student, 22-year-old college student, has been murdered by a career criminal who has been released by the system. Thank you, judges. Once again, multiple previous arrests, and this criminal sack of shit breaks into a South Carolina home where a college student lived. When will Democrat voters stop voting for death in their local judge races, There's Supreme Court elections at the state level. Some states have elections, right? Unbelievable. When are they going to stop voting for legislators who say it's not a crime to rape children? It's not a crime to prostitute children. It's not a crime to groom children. It's not a crime to molest children. That's what they got in California, and the Democrats there keep voting for it. When will Democrat voters stop voting for death and destruction? Never, because that's what they want. They are so guilt-ridden, so fucking stupid and ignorant, so easily fooled by the media and political leadership, so insanely dependent upon a government system that will lie to them at every turn, and they are so insistent on wanting to feel good, to virtue signal, to love their political party, that they'll completely leave critical thinking, common sense, moral decency. They'll just sweep it all aside and say, let's vote for more Democrats. And people are fucking dying. And the country is being threatened by these same Democrats. From the bottom all the way to the top, you got it. You got it. They're so powerful that these satanic, evil bastards that rape children pay big money for it too, and drink their blood. Oh, yeah, it's not a joke anymore. It is a fact. This adrenochrome blood harvesting shit. Just the other day, another high-level political expose of the super rich using children came out again. It's just outrageous. And it's so outrageous. Where are the fucking arrests? And this is when I get negative. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, you fucking losers. When are you going to release the Epstein files? When are you going to arrest them? They don't even have to be on the Epstein files. Just give us high-level pedophile arrests. Oh, Pam Bondi came out today. Oh, we found more fentanyl. Oh, really? Was it being trafficked through your fucking office or through the Fox News studio? Because those are the only two places that we seem to see you. Somehow she made it to the border. She made it somewhere else and just happened to trip over a couple million fentanyl pills. She's going to take credit for this shit, but she's not going to do anything that actually helps you and me and protects children. She's not doing anything to protect children, much less get justice for the other children. I know, I just went off on that fucking horse, didn't I? All right. Get your questions, your comments, your thoughts. I want your opinions on this. You can throw your whole opinion out there if you want. I will read it and we'll discuss it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my take on this is incorrect. I don't mind listening to other opinions, which is why we do this. So you guys can get your thoughts and opinions out, and I can agree, disagree. I can take the what's known as the devil's advocate position and argue against it. I can argue for it, whatever, right? We can have a great discussion, and that's what this channel is about. But our government is fighting directly against us and impeding justice when they have the authority. Let me give you another example. Jasmine Crockett. That's right. The eyelash hoe of Congress. The newest incarnation of retardedness in Congress. Battling for the leadership position and most stupid from discount Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, who, by the way, doesn't like being called dollar store Obama or discount Obama. So fuck you, Hakeem. Right? He's a retard. AOC's a retard. Rashid Tlaib is a retard. Ilhan Omar needs to be expelled from Congress and deported from the country for her crimes against the state. Lying, perjury, marrying her brother. That's right. Incredible. Anyways, Jasmine Crockett. She went to a college and gave a commencement address. And she implied, she hinted, she gave a clue, she incited very sneakily to the graduates that they, as graduates of college, should be prepared to, quote, use a chair. Not to sit on, but as a weapon. What the fuck is she even doing giving commencements? She should be behind bars for assaulting a journalist and attacking him. Wait. Pam Bondi has the evidence. It's been referred over to her for prosecution. Where the fuck are the prosecutions? Broad daylight, criminal attack, Jasmine Crockett. Being a legislator, being a member of the House of Representatives, doesn't give you the authority or a right or even a special privilege to assault people. Unfucking believable. And this dumb bitch is still out there asking for violence. Use a chair to beat people, to silence people, to intimidate people. Oh, the time is going to come. Right? Government is lawlessness right now. In fact, I've got an outrageous story to share with you here. Once again, questions, comments down below, because we're going to get to you. I want to get to you guys and give you as much time as possible. A completely lawless and clueless Biden judge has now ordered the Trump administration to allow 12,000 refugees, ordering that 12,000 refugees be allowed into America, despite the fact that they could be dangerous. Unfucking believable. Now, here's the cool part. Trump does not have to obey a shitheel, anti-American communist judge giving unlawful orders. Right? This order is a violation and intrusion into executive authority under Article 2 of the Constitution. This claim of power to be an Article 2 executive by a judge who operates under Article 3, they have no say over the border. This is lawlessness by judges, and it's continuing. Where is Congress? Maggot Mike Johnson, Senate Leader Toon. Where the fuck are you guys? Why are you not defunding these judges? Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution gives the Congress the power to fund or finance these federal judges. And Congress and the president have in the past removed their authority, vacated their courts, and told them, get the fuck out of here. Right? The only court that's described in the Constitution is the Supreme Court. The other courts are funded and controlled. They're supposed to be impartial, and that's why they've been allowed to exist. But now they are no longer impartial. They are completely fucking partisan. And that's part of this war that I described at the beginning in my monologue as being part of the multi-front, where I named quite easily 9 different areas were being attacked by the New World Order, Bilderberg, World Economic Forum, socialist, anti-American, fascist organizations. And they're not going to quit, folks. So you and I are having to fight them all. And it can be overwhelming. I described a legal organization that was in Washington, D.C. to protest and tell all the other judges, because these are supposedly good attorneys and supposedly good retired judges and others who are there to explain to the government how they're violating the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and that they work for us and they need to obey us and the Constitution. Did you guys hear? Were there a bunch of resignations off the bench? Were there apologies today from the federal government for fucking us over? I mean, Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, John Roberts, is worried about due process for illegal criminals who are here illegally because they broke the law. He's worried about due process, which they skipped the due process coming into the country. They kind of basically skipped that. But on the way out, they want due process. right? Isn't that incredible that that's how they think? But that's how they think. Let them in illegally. Millions of these fucking criminals. But, you can't, you have to give them their due process. No, due process is not in place for non-Americans. Oh, they make their argument. It says the people have a right to due process. You're only citizens, or rather Americans, is what the Constitution was written for. If you're a criminal from another country, you don't get that. If you were born here and your parents are here unlawfully, not as citizens, the court case has already been tried by the Supreme Court. They have no rights. There is no such thing as an anchor baby. That myth has been dispelled. It has been shot down. It's been proven to be nothing more than a myth and a political lie and a fucking charade against truth and fact and law. And here we are, folks, fighting the good fight. And I want you to continue to fight. I will continue to fight, even though at times I get pissed off. I get drugged down, right? I'm getting sick of these fucking liars. I really am, right? And I do not like Barstool Sports Dave Portnoy anymore because he's a sack of shit. He is a complete piece of shit, in my opinion, because he's playing the race card. He's playing the victim card. And I don't like the fucking guy for it. This is America. Free speech exists. Fuck you, Dave. I don't care if you wear a little hat on your head. He's not black. He's not Native American. He's not Asian, right? And it doesn't matter what you are. You don't get to have special privileges, but he thinks he does. I mean, he even made money off of America by selling merchandise that was cancel culture. But what's the first fucking thing that happens when he gets offended? He tries canceling people's lives and threatening them. Just what a fucking dickhead. I've had it with all these hypocritical fucking dickheads. Look, I'm all for saying whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Insult white people, insult black people, insult Jews, insult natives. I don't care. It's free speech. But if you want to insult people, then maybe I will listen to you and maybe I won't. That's what we have, right? If I don't like something that's being said, I turn the channel. I don't listen. I cancel subscription. I unsubscribe. I don't listen to that person. I block them, whatever. It's an individual choice. But I don't listen to someone say something stupid and then go, I'm going to use all the money and power I have to destroy their fucking life. But these judges, they need to be exposed and they need to be removed from power. I don't want their life destroyed, but they need to be removed from power. They should not be getting paid to fuck us over, nor legislators, nor governors or mayors, right? I don't want them canceled. I want their power taken from them. And then they can go work at a fucking Starbucks or a Panera Bread or a Tyson chicken plant, or they can go pick lettuce and tomatoes, because we need someone to pick lettuce and tomatoes. Unbelievable, folks. Here we go. Tell you what, I'm going to turn it over to you guys right now. It is now your show. Man's taking down the questions. He's going to throw them at me, and we're going to have some fun. Woo! We're back, and welcome back. Definitely welcome back. Mr. Uman, I think we probably got some good stuff to talk about. I'm going to leave it up to you to decide who's first and how it goes. And hey, it's Redneck Roughneck, and he's got something to say, as usual. Appreciate it, brother. He says, in my honest opinion, the only way we save our country is through a great reset. There's going to be a reset. There really is. But what shape does it take? Anyways, let me continue with Redneck Roughneck. He says, The only way to save our country is through a great reset, but not like the one the globalists want. But we can clean out the government. Yes, sir. And start over from the Constitution. It's written in plain English so the common man can understand it. And it's the common law that was used to create this common understanding, this commonly, easily understood document. Yes, indeed, Redneck Roughneck. See how thin that is? Look at that. Look at it, right? And this is more than the Constitution. This is the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and a little history and a foreword and some other stuff, but it's a very thin, small book. It's very thin, very small. We don't need these reams and piles of fucking paper that government has created, because what does it do? It confuses people. Do you know that any law they pass is codified or codified? What does a code do? A code, when something is encoded, it is meant to confuse, to hide, to deceive, to make difficult. It is codified. Right? If I were to send Redneck Roughneck a message that is coded, only those who understand how to decode it can read it and understand it. Thank you, you fucking lawyers. That's right. Blame the fucking lawyers for this. We don't need law codified, because then what do? They go to the IRS and say, take this codified law and create regulations out of it. And we're like, so you take a codified law and then have some organization with no accountability is going to create rules that they're going to apply at us. Same with the ATF. Oh, well, this law says this, but we're going to interpret this code to mean you can't have this and can't have that and can't have the other. And we're like, hey, wait a minute. The Second Amendment says shall not be infringed, motherfuckers. That's simple, common language. And that's why it was written that way. We don't need Roman civil law to have a law-abiding country. But yes, folks, back in the 1850s and then 60s, the nation, controlled by lawyers and scumbags, started moving us away from common law and towards the Roman civil law, and started codifying rules and regulations. And we've been buried under this mountain of fucking paper ever since. Ever since. And they have codified it. In other words, they've couched language in a way that cannot be easily understood, so that you have to have a lawyer to fight a battle against them. And now even the lawyers, as we have learned, from the local level to the state level to the federal level, all the way to the Supreme fucking Court, even though the law, the common law, is now codified under Roman civil law, they refuse to obey it anyways. So yes, Redneck Roughneck, we need a great reset. We need to take the entire CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, and put it in a fucking dumpster, set it on fire, and roll it down the fucking hill. I am not calling for violence, you dumb fucking liberals out there. Right? That is an allegory. It's a fucking story. But yeah, we need to get rid of this shit. It needs to be burned down with all of the transgender bullshit and pornography they're trying to teach kids in school. It literally needs to be gotten rid of, destroyed, eliminated, removed. Thank you, Redneck Roughneck. We need that great reset. Back to this. A very simple set of rules that restricts the fucking government. Yeah, the government was created to protect our borders, to coin money, to deliver mail. And did I say protect the border? And that's about it. We don't need anything beyond regulating interstate commerce, and that's it. right? Interstate commerce was another function. Basically, the federal government was to tell states, you can't charge a tariff state to state. You can't tell people they can't travel state to state. You can't tell people they can't do business state to state. That's the regulatory power of the federal government, was to stop any one state from harming another state or the people in that other state. Instead, they say, well, we can regulate all things commerce state to state. That's the interstate commerce clause that they created and just fucking made up and said, oh yeah, we have that kind of authority. And now they say, well, that's how we regulate firearms, guns, shotguns, rifles, pistols, is they're crossing a state line. So therefore, we have a right to regulate it. We have the authority and the power to regulate it. So this interstate commerce clause, which is in the body of the Constitution, is supposed to outweigh the Second Amendment. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Yet that's exactly what these motherfuckers do. Let's continue if we shall. Ooman, who's up next? We've got Ooman. He says anti-fags. That's the Antifa-ags. Are rearing their heads in Seattle. Yes, they are. Seattle. Nobody gave a shit about Seattle. And then, well, they got the Seattle Seahawks, the Seattle Supersonics. We got Nirvana, grunge music out of Seattle. And then we got Antifa, the Antifags. They took over and burned the, quote, engineering building at the University of Washington last night. Trespass, break and enter, commit arson. The weather's getting nice, says Ooman, and the scumbag Antifags and other communists are crawling out from under their rocks again. As predicted, it was just a little too chilly for them all. This is Seattle. So all of the scumbag BLM people in other cold cities like Kansas City, Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, New York, Boston, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Indianapolis. Name your big city, folks. Baltimore. We could be seeing a lot more shit happening in the next few weeks, and I'm expecting it. I'm down here in Florida where it's nice and warm all year round. Like a cold day in Florida is something below 60. That's a cold day in Florida. In fact, well, we did have snow this year in northern Florida. Snow that fell and stuck on the ground and accumulated. But yeah, it's warm. Where's the Antifags in Florida? Nowhere to be seen. You want to know why? Because we'll stomp their fucking livers out if they try their shit here. BLM, you'll get stomped. Muslims, you'll get stomped. And I want to be part of that. I've got some stomping boots. I'd like to do some stomping. I want to protect America. I'm glad you guys are here with me wanting to protect America and also being prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Get your shit together with a plan. Go to thepreparedmind.club. That's your super store for getting prepper items. I don't pimp it out enough. I don't talk about it enough. It provides enough, shall we say, affiliate marketing revenue to help keep the lights on. That's about all it does for us because we don't have a warehouse. We don't carry products. We just take people from the website, click on a button, and you go to their stores. We don't want to be involved more than that, but we want to provide links at thepreparedmind.club. It is the American club. It's not like Sam's Club. It's not like Costco. It's for preppers. Okay, Ooman, where are we going next? We've got Heidi. And she's in the house and she says, I'm about to ready to call ICE on my neighbors. I got in my truck. I closed the door and my back window fell and shattered. Why the hell did that happen? Why did the back window in your truck fall and shatter? Did someone pull out the weather stripping on it? Did someone damage your truck trying to break into it? Did they break into it and then try and restore it and you didn't realize that your back window was going to fall out? That incredible. If I were you, the cop is making the kids pick up the glass. So did these fucking kids break your window? Is that what happened? You got in your truck, tried to leave, and you were attacked by these fucking punks? I'm glad the cop is making the kids pick up the glass. But the cop should be charging them with a fucking crime. Destruction of private property. And since you, Heidi, are a white lady, we need to look into see if this is a hate crime. I think it could be a hate crime for hating white Americans that are older than age 50. That would be good. I hope their parents have to fucking pay for it. But if I were you and you think they're illegal, I would call Immigrations and Custom Enforcement. Heidi lives up in Minnesota, right? Whether it's Kenosha or Sheboygan or Minneapolis or St. Paul or any of those funny northern sounding country or cities, yeah, call them. The only way they're going to know that something bad is happening is if good people call. And the only way for evil to persist and win is for good people to do nothing, Heidi. And I know you're a good person. You've got a good heart. Please do whatever it takes to protect yourself, your property, and your family. All right. Thank you, Heidi. Ooh, man, where are we going next? And this was proof. Heidi is proof that even preppers, even good people will be attacked. So survival readiness checks in. Kapow. Is this Big Ron? Anyways, John, he says, the curry has started to fly. India has begun airstrikes on Pakistan. What do you think will happen between them? Any chance they let nukes fly against each other? The curry has started to fly. Yeah, India has had it with the Muslim Pakistan. And survival readiness is correct. They both have nuclear weapons. They both have nuclear power plants. They both have nuclear weapons. And Pakistan is a dangerous Islamic republic. Yes, they are. The Pakistan migrants, asylum-seeking lying sacks of shit, are some of the worst offenders against Western European and American people. The Pakistan people form hate-filled groups that go out and groom, kidnap, rape, murder, also rob, home invade, steal, etc. They're awful fucking people. I've had it with them. I've had it with everyone who's not American, who doesn't have the spirit of Canada in them, which is the spirit of kindness. That's why Canada's been overrun. They're too fucking polite. Anyways, on to your questions. What do you think will happen between them? Well, airstrikes against Pakistan have happened. I expect retaliation. The Pakistan government, whether or not it is Muslim, is not going to allow itself to be dissed by a bunch of Hindis. But yeah, they're fighting with themselves. They're fighting amongst each other. In India, they have begun tearing down, and they've been doing this for a couple of years now, tearing down mosques. They have declared that Islam is not a religion, that they don't have to accept it. They don't have to allow it. They don't have to tolerate it. They don't have to coexist because they can't coexist. So they are using tractors, excavators, demolition crews, and they're tearing down mosques. I don't like them refurbing and rehabbing them into restaurants and nightclubs. because they still look like fucking mosques. And I think they should be torn down to the fucking foundations, ripped out of the earth, run through a concrete recycling machine, and used in India. They especially need this. Used to create septic systems so they can dispose of their bodily waste and have all of that waste fluid run through the former building materials of these mosques. I built many septic systems. You get a septic tank, it runs out through a leach field. I've done gravity and I've done engineering. In fact, I woke up this morning thinking about engineered septic systems. Why the hell I thought about that? Probably because I was thinking about India and then destroying these stinking mosques. But your next question, any chance they let nukes fly? The answer is yes. There is a chance. So if India is airstriking Pakistan, Pakistan strikes back. So India's like, fuck you. And then it's a big fuck you until they get to the point where like, if you do that to me again, we're going to nuke you. And folks, I would guess, if I'm going to guess, I think Prime Minister Modi of India is probably a much more rational human being than whoever the fuck is in charge in Pakistan. I think Muslims, whether they are a secular nation or a theocratic nation, are less reasonable, more warlike. Hence the Middle East and the, shall we say, undignified and unintelligent nations of the world. They're third world shitholes. They're third world shitholes because they are unreasonable, unthinking people. How Pakistan got to the point where they have nuclear power, infrastructure, and nuclear weapons, probably because they purchased it back before they became an Islamic caliphate. In any event, yes. And if that happens, if they start nuking each other, does Iran need to get involved? Does China need to get involved? Does Russia need to get involved? Does the United States of America need to be involved? How about NATO? I don't think anyone should get involved. Let those two countries hammer it out themselves. Hammer it out themselves. I think that would be fine by me. China doesn't like India, but they seem to have patched things up lately. Pakistan, on the other hand, I don't have anything good to say about them. I just don't. Okay, man, let's roll. Chin music in the house. All right, he says, why do we have constitutional scholars? I've read the damn thing. And I understood, says Chin Music, I understood every word, and I'm just a chicken shit golf and martial arts instructor. No, you're not a chicken shit golf instructor, martial arts instructor. You're so much more than that. You're an expert in golf. You're an expert in martial arts. You're an expert, and you speak English. So that makes you every bit as qualified as any judge, attorney, lawyer, law school expert, scholar. You don't see, that's the point. That's the problem with these sack of shit lawyers, is they've convinced all of us through their bullshit. Well, I have a Juris Doctorate. So therefore, I know better than you. No, it's in English. Well, you have to understand case law. Yeah, we know what precedent is. We understand how precedent and courts work, you fucking bunch of shyster lawyers. And I mean that. They're a bunch of shyster lawyers. They're pretending to create a system that only they can understand because it is codified. That's right. And because it's codified, you, as a layman, are not allowed to understand or talk. Just like doctors, you and I aren't allowed to talk about cerveza bug, the Jim Jones juice, the World Health Organization, pandemics. We're not allowed to talk about medicine. Oh, no. Folks, you can pick up webmd.com or any other medical diagnosis website. Put in the symptoms and you will come up with exactly what your fucking doctor will tell you. But you can't get prescription medicines because you're not an expert. You're not a scholar of medicine. Well, lawyers practice and doctors practice. But apparently they never become fucking good at it because they're always practicing. We don't need constitutional scholars. That is why the founding fathers, who themselves were genius, said, we're not going to write a complicated bullshit government. We're going to write it in plain English to be understood by everybody who's an American. So that the lawyers, in fact, during colonial American times, many states completely outlawed barristers, lawyers, judges, etc. There were government magistrates put in place where the government could present a simple, everyday English complaint and the magistrate would handle it. Right? As a judge, they go, who committed the crime? They listen to a little evidence. They go, you're guilty. You're the one that broke the law. You're the one that violated this person's rights. And it was easy to understand what someone's rights were. You own the property. You have the rights to it. You have the rights to use it. You have the rights to dispose of it as you see fit. Someone violates the rights, right? The judge, the magistrate could figure it out. But no, we need these scholars. And look what these scholars do. They create a confusing language. And then they argue about what words like should, could, would, and must mean. We have to have a fucking case go to the Supreme Court to tell us what should, would, could, or must means in a legislative capacity. Did you know that they can write a law that says the color red is green? And for the purposes of that law, the color red is green because it's a law. That is what legislation does. They can lie. They can change the meaning of words. Just like the word person. It's not me and you. I am not a person. Did you know that you're not persons? But the law and the government will tell you you're a person. And by common usage, we call ourselves people or persons. But it does not actually apply. But they do. They misapply it to you because the word person, get this, is a legal fiction. Fiction meaning it's not a truth. It is a legal or legislated entity. A person is an entity. A person is a corporation. And by rule, here we go with their fucking rules and their codes. A person is subject to legislative control by government. And a person owes its existence to the government, owes loyalty to the government, owes fealty to the government. No. See, it goes God, a people, Constitution, government, and persons. Way down at the bottom is persons. Corporations are persons. But they've legislated and created all this gobbledygook shit, these fucking shyster scholars, and they've now convinced us we're persons and that we operate not by right, but by privilege. And until we get this shit fixed, until we have, as Redneck Roughneck said, a great reset, and we go back to this as being the law, very simple, common sense. We don't need reams and reams and reams and fucking bookshelves covered with books, laws, regulations that come after the laws to tell us how to live our lives. They don't get to tell us how to live our lives, yet they do. Fuck them. It is time for a reset and a half. We're in process. Who's going to win the war? The multi-front war. As discussed early on in the show. Are the scholars going to win it? Are there jackbooted Gestapo thugs, the FBI, going to enforce their will upon us? The ATF? Or are we going to win? Oh, my friends, I hope you're prepared. You're going to need all the food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense you can get. And this, be prepared for what's coming. Be prepared. Thank you, Chin Music. Great topic, brother. Woo. In fact, these are all great topics. You guys kick ass. All right, oh man, let's keep going. I got a few minutes left on the show, and Redneck Roughneck is back, and he says, Jim Jordan. Now I'm going to get fucking pissed off. I used to be a supporter of Congressman of Ohio, Republican Jim Jordan, who used to run to the end of his leash and bark and threaten to do something, yet he never did a fucking thing. Let's see what Redneck Roughneck says about Jim Jordan. He said he's putting up a bill saying you have to be a natural-born citizen to hold a Senate or congressional seat, just like the president. He's doing something that makes sense. He's putting forward a bill. Do you think it'll pass through Congress? Oh, they'll have debates. They'll have a blue ribbon panel committee. Look into it. The Judicial Committee. The judicial scholars inside the legislative scholar world of Jim Jordan. They'll talk about it. It would have to pass through the House. Maggot Mike Johnson, they'll probably just send people on vacation. Fuck it. More vacation for Congress after we give you a raise. Then it would have to make its way over to the Senate. And the Senate would have to go through the same fucking process. And then they would rewrite it the way they want. And then they'd have to go to conference committee. You know what conference committee is, don't you? That's where the Congressional House of Representatives committee gets together with the Senate Judicial Committee, and they come together and they talk about it. They form their own little sub committee to discuss, is it constitutional? Is it too radical? Right? And stuff gets lost and fucking buried. Do you know that the definition of committee is where good ideas go to die? Quite literally, that's the definition of committee. A place where good ideas go to die. So Jim Jordan is putting this bill up because it's politically expedient to announce these words. That's all Jim Jordan is fucking good for. He's smart. And he's probably fucking compromised. Is he Epstein pedophile? I don't know. Is he any kind of pedophile? I don't know. Has he been accused of being a pedophile? I don't know. All I know is Jim Jordan barks. Jim Jordan yells. Jim Jordan talks tough. Jim Jordan sounds smart. Jim Jordan does jack shit. Just like the rest of these congressional Republicans who have done jack shit to help you, me, America. Deplorable Yankee Redneck says that should be on a ballot and voted on by the people, just like term limits. I agree. But there is no such thing as a national referendum. We have state referendums. And if you knew about these fucking judges in the great state of California back in the 1990s, guess what I voted for? I voted for a referendum, a law where the people directly vote for it. And we voted and said, illegal immigrants shall not get public benefits. They should not get medical care. They shouldn't get education. They shouldn't get freebies, handouts, welfare, nothing, because they're fucking illegal. And guess what the state court said? You people in the state of California, you don't get to pass laws. That is not going to be allowed to be enforced in the state of California. That's what fucking government does. So when we, the people with a capital P, the legitimate sovereigns, God, people, Constitution, government, and then persons, somehow, God, people, Constitution, government, the government said, no, we're better than the people and we know better. And an unelected fucking judge took our voted on legislation and trashed it. So if we passed a law at the state level that said no state representative that is elected to Congress shall be or must be, not shall, must be an American natural-born citizen, not a naturalized 14th Amendment citizen, guess what? These state pieces of shit judges would just say, nope, not allowing it. We're going to do what we want. Fuck you people. And that's what happens, folks, when the Nazis lose the war but don't go away. Oh yeah, folks. Fascist government operating through Roman civil law, using codified rules and regulations that we can barely understand, and then lying to us about it when we do understand it and completely ignoring it. That's where we're at. Welcome to SHTF Live. Semper Fi. I love you all. Thank you for the great support. Spread the word, share the internet address, share the links, hit the repost, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Go to thepreparedmind.club and buy your preps. Folks, it's going to get nasty and nastier as the antifags and the butt-loving BLMers and the terrorist jihad Joes and the government allows it all to happen again. It's coming. Godspeed. Semper Fi.